Hello and welcome to Molten Fantasy Sports, the first edition for AFL Supercoach. My name's Micky and alongside me is my co-host, Robbie Kennedy. G'day, Robbie.
Hey, mate. What a fantastic opening. I don't know if I'm ever going to get used to that.
It's delicious, isn't it?
We're going to do all session, I reckon.
Absolutely. Now, the boys at Molten have put their heads together and we're bringing something in for the Australian and the outside community. For us especially, it's going to be about AFL Supercoach, but stay tuned for other sports as well. So for today, Robbie and I will give you a bit of a understanding as to what our backgrounds are, and then we're going to get stuck into the backline for 2023, okay? Who we think is a premium, who we think what we call mid-price madness. It could go both ways. Rookies to look out for, people to stay away from. Okay, so Rob, I'll let you go first with your background.
Oh, mate, tennis is normally my background, and let's not hold you back. I played college tennis over in the States. I work in tennis, but I also played 250 amateur games at a reasonable level, A grade to C grade at different points. Grew up in Victoria. I'm now a WA boy, but so therefore you don't change your footy team. I'm a Hawks man. I will put that out in the open, but I'm not complete one-eyed. I can be open to some good players out there. So it's definitely not filled with Hawks, especially with, I'm not quite sure what they're going to produce this year, mate, but we'll see.
Yeah, they look very young, don't they?
Very young, but I like what they're doing. I think Sam Mitchell's he's shown what he's going to do, and I think they've got a bright future. He's doing the rebuild the right way, in my opinion.
For sure. And for me, my name's Mick. I come from country Victoria, still living in Victoria with the other half and a couple of kids. My footy background is predominantly senior footy across country Vic. Spent a little bit of time in Melbourne, a period of time in Perth. And now, or in recent times, I've been a senior coach of a couple of footy clubs down here. For me this year, we're taking a step back from the local level football, and I'm going to concentrate on providing the broader community, as well as Rob, some serious Supercoach content to enable you to get the best side that you can on the park, in hopes potentially of winning the $1,000 each week. If you subscribe to Herald Sun, $2,000. And then look for that big bang at the end with the big prize money. So our goal for this episode is to provide you some premium content as to who we believe should be in your side. Okay? For example, so we've dug right into the stats here. And Geelong last year had a total of 9,358 disposals. In contrast, the Gold Coast had 2,187 disposals less. In Supercoach world, that's a huge amount of points that you're missing out on. If you're looking at, your so-so players from Geelong versus the Gold Coast Suns, okay? In regards to kicking the ball, which potentially is a big scorer in the Supercoach world, Brisbane were the ones that kicked the ball the most last year. They kicked the ball 5,603 times. Whereas Adelaide kicked the ball 1,214 times less. Okay, so we're looking at, your Rory Lairds and Brodie Smiths of the world who are high ball users. They take a lot of that out of the Adelaide side. There's not much left for anyone else. Versus Brisbane, they're very one kick, one handball kind of side. And with their ins, Dunkley and whatever else, they look to feature pretty heavily in this year's side.
Or in Lachie Neal's case, mate, 0 kicks in about 420.
Yeah, that's right. And he can just rack it up with ease, can't he? So we'll go into how they score. And what we do want to state as well is the best player on the ground isn't necessarily the best Supercoach scorer. Okay? So you can look at if you're a St Kilda supporter, for example, Dougal Howard, he might not be the best scorer in the world. The best player in the world, but there's times where he might get 8 disposals for the game, several punches from behind, the little 1%ers and end up with 80, 90 points versus someone who may rack up your 25, 30 touches. Matthew Crouch, for example, from Adelaide, gets a lot of the ball, little dinky handballs. They're not big point scorers. You think he's doing well, and then he's inefficient in the Supercoach world. They're the types of people we're going to try and steer you away from. Okay. We'll also be going into the types of systems that AFL clubs play in and what will benefit you throughout the year. Okay. So big point scorers for us this year. Robbie, would you be able to back me up? in the defence side of the world is intercept marking's huge.
Massive,
So for an intercept mark, it's 8 points. Okay, long effective kicks are another huge one. They're over 40 metres. So you're looking at people that are kicking the ball out from fullback, play onto themselves, kick it outside 50, because then there's bonus points for rebound 50s. That's a good way to accumulate points. And yeah, rebounds from 50. I've got that noted there. Okay, so your effective kick, an effective long kick, can get you 6 points. A contested intercept mark can get you 8 points. A tackle when you're or anywhere over the ground, but a tackle can get you 4 points. So we're looking at effectiveness. We're not just looking at volume. Okay. A spoil's worth 2 points as well. Is there anything you want to add to that, Robbie, before we get into our premiums?
Nah, mate, I think you've summed it up really well. I'm sure there's little bits here and there, but I'm excited to just dive in and start talking backs, start talking players. I'm also very excited to see you reveal your backline at the end of this, mate. I'm intrigued to see what you've got and what I've got. It's going to be good.
There's been some study time, hasn't there? So,
well, I'm still at early decision. I'm just at impulse at the moment. I'm at impulse. But I'm probably going to hear some fun facts from you, mate. I'll probably be changing my team. I've got it right down here on my laptop, mate, and I think I'll be changing as we speak. We'll see how we go.
Absolutely. So let's get cracking with the back line. We'll start with the number 9th ranked player last year overall in Supercoach. And for some, this might surprise you, but it was Jack Sinclair from St Kilda. What do you think, Rob?
Mate, he was in my team. I loved having Jack Sinclair. I think he really stepped up and showed the role that he was going to play. They used him a lot off the back line. It's funny that you say sort of the ranking wise and things like that because of what his price is going to this year. But I loved what he did. I think he played an actual backline role, but at the same time, they used him to rebound out of 50. He loved using his kick. He was very effective by foot. Absolutely. And I can't see him not playing the same role this year.
Let's just hope he gets rid of that dirty mullet. That was terrible.
It's kind of like the modern day haircut now, isn't it, mate? I'll tell you what.
Yeah. And I concur with what you're saying. Great user of the ball. St Kilda were looking to him a lot to get the ball in his hands due to his disposal efficiency. Hence why he's averaged for the year 113 points. I know he might be a high price pick for your back line, but when you're getting consistent scores, out of players like that, you've just got to lock them in.
Yeah, there weren't too many games that he had under the 100 either, or under his average, or you could say. One thing that I'll refer to a lot is those players that might score a 140 and then all of a sudden score a 70. So, okay, the average might look good, but are you looking for more consistency, or are you looking for that player just to have that big breakout game? For me, it's always been about consistency and close to their average as possible.
Absolutely. Yep. And I think with Ross Lyon as coach, that's not going to deviate away too much.
If anything, they're probably going to be chipping more around the back line. He'll probably rack up more disposals. My only hesitation here, though, Mickey, is they're playing Freo in round 1. And I don't know what that will look like for him. I think Freo are going to have another breakout year this year.
Yeah,
to get a break-even score of 114 in his first round. I know Supercoach obviously a little bit different with the break-even system, but I'm a bit worried about Freo being their first effort. So I don't know. At the moment, he's sitting there for me, and I've got to see how things play out before round 1, I reckon.
Nice one. Someone else in our top 10, James Sicily from Hawthorn. So for me, I don't have Jack Sinclair in my side at the moment, but I have James Sicily. For me, I think Hawthorn are going to be a bit under the pump this year. I like what they're doing in regards to their midfield. Their midfield and pushing through the youngsters. But there are going to be times where they're going to be under the pump from some of the more senior teams, bigger body teams in the comp. Hence why I believe with Sicily's marking ability, he uses the ball well. His ability to play off his man, he could be in for an even bigger year this year. What do you reckon, Rob?
Mate, I've got him sitting there at the moment, but I've got massive question marks at the moment. And I'll tell you why. Hawthorn have recruited so many backs and a lot of young backs. Their backline actually has quite a few players that can play through there. We're unsure of what Sam Mitchell's going to do as well.
Yeah,
He had him Sicily going through the midfield in the last 3 games, and he just absolutely racked up disposals. Will he do that again? I don't know.
Yeah.
My big issue, though, is I've seen that Mitch Lewis has now gone down with a sprained MCL or sprained ACL even. So no surgery, but out for 6 to 7 weeks. Now, Hawthorn don't have Jack Dunstan. They don't have Mitch Lewis. They don't have Ben McAvoy anymore. So who is actually going to go forward? I'm not sure. Sicily might be one of those ones that you see that they maybe put in the midfield and then throw forward as a pinch hit. So we've seen Sam Mitchell roll the dice and throw magnets all over the board. So will he play that role in the back line? I don't know. And at that price, you got to be making sure that he's going to be lining up in that back line before you put him there. But he's sitting there for the moment. But since that injury noise, as I said, I've got an impulse team at the moment. He's there at the moment, but we'll see. We'll see.
So, coming off an ACL in 2021, he was, and to average 113 as well, which is the same as Jack Sinclair. It's quite remarkable after having 12 months off footy.
Nah, huge. Yeah. You might see him be named captain as well, I reckon. We'll see.
Yeah. Next on the list, Tommy Stewart, Geelong. He's in my side. He's, for someone that's come in as a mature age recruit and just has adapted to AFL footy like a fish in water, hasn't he? His ability to intercept mark, his ability to use the ball. When he needs to get defensive, he's defensive. I rate him as one of the top 3 backmen of the comp. Robbie?
I rate him as one of the top 3 backmen of the comp. He scares me in fantasy, and I don't know why. I've had him before. I love having him in my team. He's got to get those marks. He's got to make sure that he's the one kicking out of the back line. He did start to get a tag put on him a lot more. It's sort of like Mitch McGovern type thing. I mean, Jeremy McGovern type thing where he gets tagged a lot more now. Proven scorer. Like, it's very hard not to think about putting him in your team. He suits the Supercoach scoring style massively. But he's not in my team at the moment. And I'm a bit nervous about it, but he's not in my team at the moment.
You can only have so many primos, can't you?
He's 42% ownership. And to be honest, I love a bit of a point of difference. I love a bit of point of difference. And people probably call me a hypocrite when they see my team maybe revealed at the end, but it's an impulse team. And then I'll start going in and having a look at who are my point of differences, especially if I want that weekly prize money, and to just sort of stand out a little bit from the pack without going too crazy. So we'll see. We'll see.
Good. Next, so he was rated number 23 overall last year, overall with Supercoach. Number 19 from last year, Sam Doherty, Carlton, coming back from the treatment that he had to score as well as what he did, and was very much a leader of the Carlton Footy Club. Very stiff not to play finals last year, but again, he's got a very Supercoach-friendly role, doesn't he?
Here's what I epitomise as my exact prototype type defender that I want in my Supercoach. He gives me confidence that he's going to rack up disposals. He takes marks. He's always there for the chip kicks. He takes the kick-outs. And when you're going to start hearing of, I'm hearing rumours that he might even get midfield time more this year, especially with Sam Walsh with his little bit of an injury. To think that he could go in the midfield and then pinch in behind the ball, there's 2 players in my back line, and he's one of my absolute locks. 2 locks. He's a lock for me at the moment. Unless I hear anything crazy, he is an absolute lock for me.
He's nice. He's not in my team, but he is nice, and he may make his way in round 1.
Well, you might rethink that round 2.
Potentially.
We'll see.
Next on the list, so he was ranked 19 overall last year, ranked number 20 overall last year, Jordan Dawson, Adelaide. Started on a bit slowly, had some injury issues, kicked the game winner against Port Adelaide there, and blossomed. He's not cheap, but you will find value in Jordan Dawson. I believe he's going to take another step forward this year. He averaged 109 points last year a game. Again, not in my side, but I don't think you could go wrong with picking him in yours.
I think this is why I love our listeners are really going to enjoy the two of us on this podcast. We're going to give them different points of view, and we are missing Justin today. He'll be joining in with a lot more comedy and expertise as well. But he's the other lock for me. One thing I hate more than anything in Supercoach is trading somebody out and then having to trade them back in at another point in the year. And that is what I did last year. I had Dawson from the start. I dropped him out when I saw that he wasn't quite playing the role that I thought he was going to. And as he said, mate, from the moment he blossomed, that's when he started playing that role. And I can't see him playing any other role than what he did to finish off that year last year. So for me, again, disposals, kick-outs, takes marks. He's my guy. He's my guy sitting right next to Sam Doherty, and I don't think I'll even look at him all year. Yeah,
after watching them, I think Matthew Nix has worked it out that how to get the best out of him. And I haven't got the stats here, but I think you'll find from about round 10, he averaged about 120 after a slow start. So you definitely can't go wrong there. I'll just quickly go over the next 5 that I have. Feel free to pick out any of these that you'd like to talk about, Robbie. So a bit of a smoky for me, Bailey Dale, Western Bulldogs. He averaged 101 last year. He was 38th overall. Angus Brayshaw from Melbourne, he averaged 98. He was 47th overall. Luke Ryan from Freo, he averaged 98. I've got a bit of a question mark around Luke Ryan, given the development of Hayden Young, who I highly rate. Daniel Rich, he averaged 95 last year. He was 63rd overall. And once we do get Justin on board, we do know he's an avid Kangaroos man. Aaron Hall, he averaged 97 overall. And for me, that's one I wouldn't touch, given his injury issues. What do you think about those ones, mate?
Yeah, I'll keep this one simple, mate. I'm not touching any of those. The only one I would possibly consider for my primo would be Bailey Dale. I think you know the role that he's playing at the Western Bulldogs, and I think he does it well. From my memory, without it perfectly in front of me right now, he's very good at hovering around his average. He doesn't go too much extremities one way or the other. The only one there, like Angus Brayshaw, I just don't know what he's going to do. I don't know where he's going to play. He got a lot of ball when he was playing in the back line, but will that be the same role? I'm not sure. And the others just do too much junk time for me, mate. Too much junk time, or too much could be a lockdown defender. Especially be careful this year with Luke Ryan, considering what's his name has now gone to North Melbourne, so he might have to play a little bit more of a lockdown
Griffin
role.
Logue, yes.
Griffin Logue. So until I see what's actually going on with that Fremantle back line, I'm not touching any of them. And a lot of credit to a lot of those guys, because they've been some fantasy football pigs for me in the past. But I think we're past that point now. We're moving on to a few different players.
Absolutely. And just with our top tier players, Tom Stewart here, 2021, he was 23rd overall. 2022, 23rd overall. So very consistent if you're looking for a top tier player. Daniel Rich last year was 63. The year before, he was 26. My fear with him, Caden Coleman came on really well late last year. Brisbane's run and gun type of style. I don't think that I'll be touching him. Jordan Dawson, 20th last year. The year before, 41st. Luke Ryan, 45th last year. The year before, 43rd. Sam Doherty, as we're aware of his health concerns, but as you were saying, a lock for yourself. Bailey Dale came on. He was 79th in 2021, 2022, 38th. And one that I won't be touching, who is considered a primo, but I haven't included him in this broadcast due to age and the way I see West Coast playing, is Shannon Hearn.
I think a lot of people agree with you, Ed. He took a lot of kickouts last year, and I don't know what he's going to do. I just don't think it's worth the point of difference risk. I don't think it's worth it. Mate, I think you summed it up really well. I think the one that you just pointed out there, massive increase from Bailey Dale, like we just talked about. So, I reckon he'll sit in that same sort of slot again this year with quite confidence. And
for sure,
again, my ears are perked up to have a little look. We'll see.
For sure, and for the viewers at home that don't know, the Western Bulldogs do play a very Supercoach friendly game. Often they've got 5, 6 of their players that ton up or go large. We're talking, Dunkley that was there last year, Bontempelli, McRae, these sorts of players. So once we hit our midfield and forwards, rucks and the like, we'll fill you full of information with that though. But for today, we're sticking with our backline. Next, we're going to move on to what we call mid-price madness. So mid-price madness is all about the players that are in that middle tier. And for me, this is anything below 500,000, but below, your higher rookie end, 230, 240 type of price range. These are more often than not the players that will make or break a year. You can get lucky, or you go on a vibe, you pick up someone, and pardon my language, but it just turns to shit. Okay? So Rob and I are going to go through 6 that I've got here, and potentially any more that Rob's got. We're going to go through their averages, how they score, and whether they're the risk. Okay? So to start off with, I've got Jeremy Howe, 463k, and that's at an average of 84. So his strength is marking. So he took 5.8 marks per game last year. For me, it's a no. You've got the name's blanked me, Robbie. Who's going to be the captain of Collingwood now? Darcy Moore.
Darcy Moore. Yeah. Well, yeah, they look like it. Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Darcy Moore. Yep.
Yeah. So if we're looking at anyone predominantly from Collingwood, I'd be going the Darcy Moore direction. I don't think Jeremy Howe is going to be in the top 6 defenders this year.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I'm not touching either of them, to be totally honest. Darcy Moore played. I look down when a defender is playing a lockdown role, and if you look back to Jeremy Howe in 2020 when he averaged 120 in Supercoach, he dropped down to 78.5. He came back up again to sort of 84.2. But it's whether he's playing the third man up or whether he's playing the lockdown role. And he's actually started being that sort of second key defender down there. So
that's right.
What I'd say to Supercoach people out there is have a look at their back line. If they've got 2 key defenders, he's the third, maybe. But that'll be a watch and see for me. Watch and see for sure.
Absolutely. The next one, who I'm actually tinkering with putting in my side, which may surprise some viewers, Tommy Atkins from Geelong. So he's priced at 461k, which is an average of 83. He was top 10 in tackles last year at 6.2 tackles per game. The last 3 games and into the final series, he was averaging close to 100. He's not in my team at the moment, but he may make his way in, given that I believe since the move to the midfield at Geelong, he really did blossom. Robbie, your thoughts, mate?
I mean, the only thing I can think of is if he's going to be the new Selwood. If you're seeing him as the new Selwood, then maybe that's where the numbers go. Like you said, mate, you always want to look at previous years and where their increase or decrease is. The stats don't lie in that kind of sense. As I said, going from 76.4 to 83.8. And as you said, when he had the midfield time, the numbers that he put up. So, again, mate, we don't call them the mid-price madness or mid-price maniacs, whatever we want to call them, because they do your head in. There is a risk involved. So you got to kind of back your thought process, do your research. That's what we're here for. So to hear numbers like that from yourself, mate, I didn't really know that too much about him. So again, we'll put him on my watch list. Absolutely.
It is if he does play that Selwood role in the preseason, he will definitely make his way into my side. There's no 2 words about it. Next for me, one of your boys, Robbie, Will Day from Hawthorn. So he's priced at 362k. Which is about 65 average. He's a rebounding defender / mid. And with I'll call it a depleted midfield that Hawthorn have, or rebuilding midfield, there's a big chance that he could get a lot of midfield time there. You probably know more about him than what I would.
Sorry, mate, didn't mean to cut you off. There's a good chance he'll push up to the wing this year. There's a lot of rumours that he'll push up to the wing. He's got that natural sort of body for a half backer, but we won't get onto rookies yet.
Yep.
You got your Weddles and things like that might join in the running out of the back line. And Will Day take that push up role to the wing. They did recruit Carl Amon as well, so it's a question of maybe where he goes to. But mate, I had him at the top of my list of sort of the mid-price maniacs or madness, whatever you want to go with. But mate, he's a quality player. He's got a lot of smarts and he's very effective with the ball as well. So it's not a bad shout. He's not sitting there yet, but again, as I said, I've got to start doing a little bit of a play around and see who and where I want to take the risk. But he's one that might be very much worth it after watch game 1 and see what he does.
Yeah, for sure. That preseason form will tell a lot there. A lot like this next one on my list, who is in my side at the moment, Elliot Yeo from West Coast. So he's priced at 337k, which is about a 68 average. Having a look back on his stats over the last 3 years, yes, he's been very injury affected, but he runs at 81% efficiency when he uses the ball. That's huge for Supercoach, and he touches the ball 22 times a game. So if he's back at full fitness, with a much stronger West Coast side, you'd know more about it being in WA than us over here in the East, but he's a lock for me if he can keep his body right. Yeah,
if he's fit, he's their inside mid. Luke Stewart, if he keeps doing soft tissue injuries and things like that, if Elliot Yeo can get himself fit, he is their bull inside mid. And I think there's no two ways about it. Tim Kelly can go inside and out, but he's probably preferable on the outside. It's just the risk factor. He missed a lot of football last year, and he's missed football before. So for me, these are the players that you got to put on your list that go, if he's fit, he's going to rise. No different to, and we'll get it when we talk about forwards, no different to your Nat Fyfe. Now, the question you got to ask yourself, are you risking both, or do you take one, or do you just steer clear altogether and take none? For me, it's pick one. I think Fyfe and Elliot Yeo have the potential to definitely play above that average of what their price is at the moment. And the more I look at it, I technically have it the other way around at the moment, but I think there might be a chance that I have to make way for Elliot Yeo if I keep hearing that he's fit, because he's a guarantee to go in the midfield, where Fyfe's more of a chance of playing a lot more forward this year.
Absolutely. What's the word over in Perth? What are the news outlets saying about him and his pre-season form?
Like anything, mate. They're running, they're fit, they're fitter than they're ever. Pre-season's been the best pre-season they've had all year. But no, I've heard he's out on the track. I've heard he's running. It's still a risk. It's still a risk. But like, he's out there and he's running. So, mate, I'll keep you posted. And trust me, I'll be getting out there and having a look. And especially if he slots into my side, I'll be checking him out for sure. Don't you worry.
For sure. Good. The next one that I've got wasn't very good last year, but I think he's got potential, and that's Nick Haynes from GWS. So he's priced at $318K. Which is an average of 57. In 2020, he averaged 98 and was one of the premium defenders in the league. 2021, he averaged 76. In 2022, 57. I'm not touching him, but there is potential if Himmelberg goes forward again. He could be that man again. Robbie?
Yeah, mate, I had him on my list as well to look. I mean, once you've played All-Australian status and put up some big numbers, used to be an incredible intercept mark, used to sort of be, dare I say, the Tom Stewart type mould and play that type of role. But I'd be going against what I've just said if the trend's the wrong direction. So unless I see the GWS football style change, I'd stick clear at the moment. But as you said, mate, quality like that has produced numbers before, and it's not like he's old. He hasn't just gone down on the age train. He's one to watch to see if their style of football and their brand of football changes with the new coaching regime and what that looks like.
Yep. Get on board the Orange team.
Someone had to say it.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I've got a little one for you. This bloke's only priced at $277K. Have a guess at who this is. His first four scores were 146, 114, 95, and 107.
Would we be referring to the most controversial trade of all time that went with like a number 6 pick or something to the premiers of last year?
Yes, yeah. Jack Bowes.
Jack Bowes. Well, mate,
guys,
if he's 277,000 in Supercoach. He's getting paid a lot more on his contract for a guy that was just sitting on the bench last year. So, mate, it's a good shout. It's a good shout. And I know a lot of people are looking at him. I was just trying to pull up his do you know his percentage pick at the moment? Where is he? 277. I've got him here. He's still only at 1%. He's still only at 1%. So it's not a bad
really nice pod option.
My question here is what I would say is this risk versus reward type thing in the way of, if he plays, he has potential to score, but what is his lock for his position on that team? I mean, that team's stacked. They just won the premiership. They already had depth at their side. Yes, a couple have gone. So you're going to ask yourself, great, I know he has scoring potential, but am I worrying every week whether he's actually going to get picked? So for me, it's a no until I start to see what's fully going on with that Geelong side and whether he slots into it. Also, the other thing you've got to be careful now is the new sub. The new sub rule. So he might be one of those super subs who gets picked each week, and you're wondering whether he's going to get the, dare I say, the vest. I know it's been the best. It's been the most controversial move by the AFL.
Yeah.
Everyone hated the vest, so we do a Medi sub. Oh, now we'll get rid of the Medi sub and we'll just do this tactical sub. So it's basically the same thing without wearing a vest. But, I'm a bit concerned on his position, percentage, to be totally honest. Yeah.
For me, it's well publicised on how much money he is making. And I think that Geelong almost have to try him at that much money. You know, you got your number 6 pick and a good player with that. But with those sorts of numbers and his ability, like when he was up and going, he was the running player. He was the one that the ball was going through his hands at Gold Coast. If he's in, he's on. Like I expect a couple of $100,000 increase if he's playing. No worries at all.
Yeah. Yeah, and I must correct myself, mate. Sorry, Jack Bowes and Jed Buse, very close in name and very close in price.
Yeah.
Jack Bowes is 16% ownership, so people have jumped on your idea here. For me, it's risky, but I think it could be one that really pays off. Literally. Yep.
Yeah. All right. So there are our 6. What we'll do at the end of this is we'll put up our Twitter, our Instagram, our Facebook website. If you guys, the viewers, want to send us an email, any sorts of questions, we'll bring it up on our show when we're on next, or podcast, sorry, and we'll go through that and detail as to why we're picking or not picking certain players. Okay, we're going to move on to our rookie prices, or our schoolboys, as I'd like to call it. These are the younger players of the comp, or players that are coming back from serious injuries who haven't played for the last year, 2 years, where there could be great value. Okay. For me, first of all, Sam Darcy, Western Bulldogs. We saw towards the end of the year, yes, he's 50 kegs dripping wet. Like, there's not much of him. But at 243K, a forward back option, so you can swing him forward. He could be the intercept person, the player that plays off their man at Western Bulldogs, which is what we've heard in their intra-club games. I'd be locking him in.
Yeah, I think if they do play him as a back, I think he's someone you really have to consider, which makes sense for their lineup at the moment after they picked up Rory Lobb. So Rory Lobb now you'd think would go in and be that forward ruck. They're playing with that forward line a lot. They have a lot of young, tall forwards. Ugle Hagen, they're trying to find the slot for him and all those types of things as well. So Darcy is kind of one of those that wants to be a forward ruck, and he has said he wants to be that. I think he's maybe the one that's going to have to lose that spot there and go down to the back line if he wants to play AFL footy. So it's not a bad shout. Again, what a team to try and get a spot in, though. It's a tough spot to get a consistent position. They do have Tim O'Brien, who's another one that can swing back there in the back line. I don't mind you thinking. Watch this space for me. For me.
I think with Ugle Hagen, Bruce, Norton, Lobb, that's a lot of forward power. I can see him honing his craft down back, which is, a lot of players start their career down back and work their way forward. They learn how the ball comes in the forward line, leading patterns, all that sort of jazz. So I think he's going to be a special player with time. Could this year be his breakout? We'll wait and see. But for me, he's in my side. The next one I've got on my list.
Is he in your side?
He's
in your side.
He's absolutely in my side.
You're taking the high price. I say the word rookie, but he's that low price, so he's in that area. You're taking the 240 odd.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah.
I like that. Mate, that's guts though. I like it.
We're doing it. Next is another player that I'm going to pick. And he's in my side at the moment. Darcy Wilmot from Brisbane. So I don't know how this works for our viewers at home, but he played 3 games of senior footy with the Brisbane Lions last year. He scored 52, 61, and 73. So you work that out at 123. If he scores consistently, there his average is about 62. He's going to make you 250,000, no worries, where you can use that money to upgrade. So for me, that's a no-brainer.
Yeah, absolute no-brainer. I think you summed it up very well too. I think he's sitting in 45 or 55% of teams at the moment as well. I mean, we'll probably do a more specific rookie show. The closer we get, rookies get moved all around. Everybody waits to see those round 1 rosters, but I think he's sitting in everybody's team right now, and you'd be silly not to.
And I think for me, there's a bit of comfort there where he's come into a side that was playing finals footy too. So it's not just, here you go, kid, here's a game for you. Get your feet wet so you know what to expect next year. They're throwing him in the fire in front of however many thousand people they were playing in front of, and by all reports playing well. So he's a yes for me. The next one, Connor McKenna. So me being an Essendon fella, I was a bit distraught when he left because he was quite exciting to watch, and having that Gaelic background and doing all those sorts of tricks. He was fun, but yes, he took off. He's not in my side at the moment, but his starting price is 167,000. When he last played at Essendon, he averaged 74 in 18 games. So you can definitely do worse. If he is picked, he'll be in. My concern is there's no AFL footy experience there for the past 3 years. Robbie?
Yeah, I've got him in there because if he's picked, then he'll stay on my side because he only knows how to play one way, and that's run around, get the handball out the back, carry, kick long, normally quite effective with it as well. So if he's picked, he's in my side, mainly for a monetary value. I don't think he's going to be that famous Nick Dacos type rookie that could get you over 100 or something like that on a certain game. But for me, he'll do enough to increase in value. And like you said, you got to have those players there that if they're picked, will increase in value. And then we know that's when the magic happens with the trades during the year to really keep continually growing the bank, mate. Yeah.
For sure. What we do want to stress too to our viewers, if we do tell you or we do recommend that you pick someone and they don't turn up round 1 or round 2, don't panic. Okay? It's a long season and a lot of people burn their trades early, and then come buy rounds or towards the end of the year when you're playing finals, particularly in cash leagues where there's some incentive to do well, patience is a virtue. Okay.
And mate, I think you're spot on. I think we'll get into it obviously deeper in another show, but looking at that break even to make the trade, that's the smart move as well. So yeah, no panic. But like we said, we'll talk loopholes and things like that another time. There has to be a loophole somewhere. Don't pick a full side to start with if you want to play that loophole role, because that hurt me last year not having the loophole, where I think a lot of people are going to do the same one, which is in their ruck stocks, but we'll save that for a later show.
Yeah. That's it. Next up, Corey Wagner. He's at Freo, 117K. Absolutely dominated the VFL over here for Port Melbourne last year. He's a yes for me. I think that
I'll put him on the bench at the moment, but mainly to see. I'm lucky I got a couple of mates who work at Freo, so I'll keep asking them on whether there's actually a role for him and what that looks like. He's more sitting there at the moment, so I don't forget him. Like, it's just let's put him in there, that impulse team. He's there. If I start hearing more about other rookies and things like that, I can make the switch, but he's sitting there for the moment just so we'll see what happens. Watch his space.
He did average in the 50s when he was last in the AFL. So, and that was 3 or 4 years ago. I think with the mature body, and being in Perth under Justin Longmuir, the big open grounds, if he gets a game, I think pick him for sure.
It's again, money. It's all about him just getting above what his break even is, make us some money, and then we'll go from there. Yep.
There's one here I want to bring up with you, given that he's a Perth boy, but we've heard a lot of buzz about over here in Victoria. Ruben Gibney from West Coast.
Yeah, mate, I've heard nothing. Heard nothing but good things about him. I've heard that he is an absolute bull of a player who is exactly what they're looking for. The rumours of what West Coast did, West Coast truly drafted for the positions that they needed. I mean, he was a top 10 talent for sure. It was always going to happen. He's a West Aussie boy, so he's going to be happy to stay here. And yeah, I think he's got to be in everybody's side. He's going to play. I'd be shocked if I didn't see him picked in that first side. And he's the kind of one that you actually probably put on your ground as your rookie price player. For me, he's on my ground, and I think I'm going to be pretty happy with him for a little while. I wanted to click on and see what I'm assuming his percentage at what is he at the moment? Oh, yeah, I mean, he's picked in 74 teams at the moment. And he's currently starting at 26% of those. I mean, I tend to think we're going to start to see him moving into that starting position. He'll take that D4 to D6 position, depending on what kind of team people are playing. Are they doing the primo rookies or are they doing the mid-price madness type of thing? But if you're doing the primos and rookies, I reckon he's most people's D4 or D5 to start with.
For sure. We've had comparisons over here to a young Clayton Oliver.
I hate those comparisons. I hate them.
Yeah.
Mate, but you know how many people... I mean, Paddy Dow was meant to be the next Scott Pendlebury. I mean, there's just because they look a bit classy on the outside and things like that. But, I mean, yes, there's the similarities in the size, the structure, the way that he plays his footy. So I can see that. But sometimes I'm like, just let the kids play. Let the kids play. But, he'll have 60,000 people probably screaming for him every week. Well, we'll see. We'll see if the West Coast fans turn up this year.
Yeah.
They're a little bit, if they're winning, they're there kind of thing, if you get me.
Couldn't be any worse than last year.
You can hit me up, West Coast fans. I've been hit in the guts by West Coast all the time from living here, but I don't mind them. We'll see. We'll see how they go.
Charlie Dean, Collingwood. So I haven't got his stats on his ownership at the moment, but he was highly touted to break into Collingwood's backline last year and then sustained, I believe, what was a foot injury and missed half of the year and slowly worked his way back. But a big pre-season, I think you'll find that he'll be in Collingwood's back six. He's a watch player for me, purely because he has had that injury layoff. This is his first full pre-season with an AFL club. And just to see how Collingwood line up in their pre-season games and how they're going to structure around the ground. They had a very successful year last year. Whether they can back that up or whether the pack catches up is another thing. So, any word on Charlie Dean for you, mate?
Well, I just found out he's at 13% ownership at the moment, mate, and he hasn't sort of been on my radar, but I'll go and check him out a little bit and see. 13% is a number that you can't really deny. I think anything over those sort of double digits, we'll have a look and watch his space. But Collingwood's an interesting one this year, and what a phenomenal year last year. We know about all the comebacks and all the tight ones, so we'll watch this space. Yeah.
And there's one more that I have here, Joshua Gota. So I wish Justin was on today so we could talk a bit about him. He's a two-eyed Kangaroo supporter. He played one game last year, scored 70. He's priced at 192K. It's a no for me, just given that Alistair Clarkson, it's a whole new game plan, a whole new system. He's got a history of being successful, so he'll want to implement a lot of the things that he did successfully at Hawthorn right from the start. Whether that translates to success straight away or not, I'm not too sure. But given that he wasn't a regular last year and only played his one game towards the back end of the year, it's a no for me.
Yeah, I'm a wait to hear from Justin, and then I'll go and do some more research because the last time I spoke to Justin, he was sending me through all the stats from their pre-season game they were having, their intra-club game. I said, mate, that's North Melbourne playing against North Melbourne. I don't care about the stats from this game. Let's be very clear about this. Don't get me wrong. There are a couple of North Melbournes in my team. He's not one of them at the moment. But, I think the only one you're sort of really missing that's kind of on my radar, mate, would be Campbell Chesser. So Campbell Chesser.
I do have him. Yes.
So I've got Campbell Chesser at 123,900, recruited to play that role. Obviously, missed a bit of footy and things like that. But Campbell Chesser, I've actually got him sitting in my midfield bench at the moment. Just again, another one of those that I knew of him, knew he's probably going to slide into my side. I love having those dual positions that I can switch around, which currently for me is would be like your Wagner. He's on the bench, and then I've got my Chesser. So if I need to make some moves at different times, I can. And then Gimby's the other one who's a dual position. So be aware that I've got Campbell Chesser in my team, but he's sitting on my bench in the midfield at the moment. Yep.
I'm exactly the same. Those are dual position statuses. They're huge.
Yeah. Oh, so massive. I think for anyone out there, if you're really thinking about your team, those dual positions just give you that a little bit of an ability for flexibility, especially if somebody's out for 1 week, you just sort of heard something's going on, so you don't have to panic. If they're not somebody that you need to move in and out to make sure that score's huge, just having that ability to do a little switcheroo here and there, no different to when come trade time, being able to push one to one position and go from there. I mean, the big thing to tell people is, your midfield depth is huge. So having somebody that might then move to the back line because they're getting a good score, and then trading in another mid who's getting a bit of score. So we'll touch on that more. But, yeah, dual positions, if you don't have them, you're going to get stuck a little bit, in my opinion.
For sure. I couldn't have said that any better, mate. That's exactly the purpose behind that. And as we said earlier, it's to save your trades. So you're not burning through them too early. And you've got that backup for later in the year when the big money's there to be won, or bragging rights in your local league. So what we'll do now is Robbie and I are going to go through our defensive lineups at the moment. So as a disclaimer, these are subject to change, but for now, this is on our research and how we believe teams are going to line up, or how these players are going to line up within their sides that are going to maximise our scoring potential to hopefully break into that top 250 players Australia-wide this year. To start off with, James Sicily for me. He's number one. As we stated earlier, intercept king. Robbie being a Hawthorn man, throwing a bit of doubt into my mind, given the potential to throw him into the midfield. It's Sam Mitchell. They're looking to rebuild. They're young. But if he's back and with their team, not having that senior experience and potentially being under the pump a bit, if he's back and the repeated entries from other teams, those intercept possessions, and his ability to hit targets on long kicks, even though he's mentally not the strongest in the game, I think price-wise and value for scoring, he's a yes for me. We'll go to you, Rob. We'll go one for one, mate.
I've got him sitting there as well, mate. I've got him sitting there at the moment. But, I've got Sicily sitting at the moment. But
Yep.
Watch this space. Watch this space. Yep.
Number two for me, Tom Stewart. We spoke about him earlier. We've spoken about most of the ones that I've got here. Intercept king, can lock down when required. Ultra consistent. He was 23rd overall in 2021, 23rd overall in 2022. If he's around that mark again, safe as houses. He's in.
Yeah, so he's not in my side at the moment, but again, he could be that one that you swap in for James Sicily, and again, you already make yourself $20,000 back, and every argument to say Tom Stewart for $20,000 less than James Sicily would be a great buy. So for me, it's Sam Doherty. Talked about his lock number one for me. I think he just continues to produce and produce and produce, and if he gets midfield time, it's only going to go up and up, in my opinion. There's injury issues there, but he looked pretty fit last year, so I have to just go with quality, and he's quality to me.
For sure. I think I went two there, mate. So, no, you had James Sicily as well, didn't you?
Yeah,
that's right. So my one that's a little bit off the radar at the moment, who I think is going to have an even bigger year this year, at D3, I've got Nick Dacos. There's a big shaking of the head from Rob, but I think he's going to take that next step. I really do.
I think I just lost I think I just lost 5,000 viewers. Actually, you know what? I've probably provoked 5,000 Colleen fans to get on here. You know what? And look, I think he is phenomenal. I think he's going to have a fantastic career. I think he does a great job. But I'm actually on the mindset of, I think he actually played that backline role really well last year, and there's a lot of talk of him going into the midfield, but I'm unsure what that will actually do. Mm-hmm. I liked how he came past, got the handball, he got the chip kick, he was effective by foot. So him going to the midfield, strangely, is I'm unsure kind of thing. Yeah. So it could be that one where you look back at me and I go, I don't have Nick, and I'm probably trading him in round 5. But let's watch this area, and this is why it's great to have these type of podcasts. But it's not a bad pick. It's just it's a no for me. My number 3 is Jordan Dawson. I said it earlier. I think him and Doherty will be the set and forget type style for me. I think I know exactly the role that he's going to play, and I feel extremely confident about it. And I think the Adelaide style is now set in place, and I think he's just going to get points after points after points every week for me. The only concern that I'll have to watch is if they do start to tag him, which they did in certain games near the end of the year. I've just got to watch that and be careful of what that looks like.
Just some stats for the viewers or the people that are listening in. Nick Dacos in 46% of teams. I've just picked up on that.
Did a lot of kick-outs.
A lot of kick-outs, a lot of playing on and generating points that way.
It's not a bad pick. I will not question the pick. It's just an unsure for me. Unsure.
So at D4 for me, Elliot Yeo. This is that watch this space, but if he plays, he's an inside mid. He's a bigger body, 6'2", I think, or 6'3", Robbie, from memory.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a yes for me. So D4, Elliot Yeo.
Yeah, so I've gone a very much primo rookie style at the moment, so I'm already on to Ruben Gimby is my D4. We've talked about it. I like your Elio pick. As I said, mate, if he looks fresh and I hear nothing but good things, there's a very good chance I throw him into my back line. Yep.
Mr. Ginby is D5 for me. You were saying before you don't like the preseason hype and the comparisons to players, but we all know what Clayton Oliver's like and how he started, and he was a ball magnet right from the start. So I think West Coast will stick fat with him and give him game time, and he then hopefully generate into the player that his comparisons are at the moment. So don't get us wrong, for the people that are listening in, there will be some lean times with rookies or people that are not costing as much in Supercoach, but patience is a virtue. You could have a couple of weeks with 50s, 60s, and then bang, you might get your hundreds. So for me, he's a D5.
Yeah, so I've got Connor McKenna at 5. Like we said before, I think if he plays, and there's a big question mark of whether he plays and how comfortable I feel he's going to play every week, I think he becomes their run off the backline player. And again, he's a value piece at 167,000. If he plays, he's breaking that number. But again, with the sub rule, I'm going to have to watch it. I'm going to have to be careful. So
for sure.
But he's there at the moment.
Jack Bowes, Geelong, D6. I've got him in at the moment. I really do believe that Geelong are going to give him a crack at being that running defender again. Try and get the ball through his hands. He is a good user of the ball. Hopefully he stays fit. He's in.
Yeah, I've got Weddle from Hawthorn. I've heard nothing but amazing things with his running capacity, the stats that he's been getting, the role that he's going to play. I think he's sparked up the years of Sammy Mitchell. So he's sitting in my D6 slot at the moment. Again, the bench could easily move into that position, but I've heard nothing but good things. So at the moment he's sitting there, and again, if he gets picked, great. If not, we'll make a move.
Awesome. And bench-wise, I've got Darcy Wilmot and Corey Wagner. We've spoken about both of them before. Wilmot averaged 60-odd for Brisbane in their senior side during finals last year. He's bargain price. For our viewers, go and grab him. Can I set you a task here, mate?
Go for it. How good's your math? Like on a rough estimate, how much have you kind of spent on your backline? Because you've got a couple. I mean, Dacos is your 500K, and then you've got Elliot Yeo is what? What's Elliot Yeo's price?
337.
So you've got two there at about 837, where I go. Oh no! So like the Dawson at 603 compared to a Gimby at 170, so about 770. So yeah, so you're spending a little bit more on your backline by the sound of things. You've sort of gone that. Yeah, okay.
I'm at 172. I'm at about 2-3 for my backline.
And this is good. This is what we'll talk to listeners, those. I mean, if you're experienced, you know exactly what we're talking about. If you're not, this is that primo and rookie style versus primo with a mid-price, two kind of mid-price risks with two rookies. It's where and when you sort of look to that kind of value and what you want to do. So, yeah, no, interesting. And as I said, mate, Elliot Yeo could be the one for me, which means I need to find some money somewhere else to make those kind of moves. So I shook my head at Nick Dacos. Who knows what I'll do? But because even Jack Bowes had a little bit of an extra price tag to him. So, yeah, it's good. All right, do you want to run through yours really quickly? Do you want to go your six? Go through it just quickly.
Back six, James Sicily, Tom Stewart, Nick Dacos, Elliot Yeo, Ruben Ginby, Jack Bowes with Darcy Wilmot and Corey Wagner on the bench.
And for me is Sicily with Sam Doherty, Jordan Dawson, Ruben Ginby, Connor McKenna, Weddle, and then Wilmot and Wagner on the bench for me at the moment. So, beautiful.
So just before we wrap it up, guys, we're going to give you 4 names. Well, I am. Rob may have others of who we would recommend you steer clear from in your back line for this year. So, for me, it's Marcus Adams, 384K from Brisbane, injury prone. He may play a few good games, but yeah, I can't remember the last time he played a 20-game season. Rob, you can shed any light on that one?
Yeah, no, I agree. No, yeah. I'll let you roll through these, mate. I think we're pretty spot on with some of these that you've got.
Yep. Brodie Smith, Adelaide, 450K. Yes, he does kick the ball a lot, but he goes missing like you would not believe. Some people think that we're talking dirty here and trying to throw people off the centre picking him, but there's games where he will get you your hundreds, but there are games where he'll get you 30. And if you want to be in that upper echelon of Supercoach players for 2023, Rob and I both recommend staying away.
Yep.
And 2 from West Coast. So Alex Witherton, he is 554K. And yes, he played 13 games last year and averaged 92, but he played 2s in a West Coast team that had no one last year. So for me, with a close to full strength side in West Coast, getting back to the way they want to play football, he's a big no for me.
Yeah, he's a really interesting one, isn't he? He's one of those ones that every time he plays, he gets stats. It's not quality stats; it's fantasy stats. And I mean, those. I'm showing my age now, but the old Joel Bowden back in the day. Nothing against Joel Bowden as a player, but he used to rack up the stats. But again, who knows what Eagles are going to do with their team and what that looks like? How fit is Hearn? But Hearn signed on to play again. They play a similar role, so a lot of the time Witherton came in just because someone went out. So too risky. Yep.
And you've just touched on him, Shannon Hearn. 577K, which would put him in the top 10 for premiums in Supercoach. We both believe that given his age, so he's 36 years old this year, and he's done it fairly tough, especially last year in a depleted side with travel and all the likes. There were some soft tissue concerns at one stage as well. 577 based on what he's done the past 10 years isn't too bad, but it's a big no for me. I believe they're going to rest him. I believe they're going to manage him. He may even take on more of a mentor role this year and teach some of these kids coming through how to be productive in their backline.
Yeah, no, it's too risky for me at that price. I think, like we've talked about before, when you've got someone like a Bailey Dale that's cheaper than him, an Angus Brayshaw that's cheaper than him, a Dan Houston who's cheaper than him, I'm just kind of having a quick... Even Vloston with the role that he was playing last year, cheaper than him. Isaac Cumming was another one that we didn't talk about. There's plenty there for us to talk through. I mean, there's even the old pig, Jake Lloyd himself. Who knows what he's going to do? But those players, to me already, would be less risk than Shannon Hearn, and they're already at a lower price. So a lot of this comes down, listeners, to not what they score, but what their price sets them at the moment. So it's like an Aaron Hall. Aaron Hall's an absolute no for me. Watch, that might bite me. He comes back with 150 in round 1 or something.
Yeah.
But we'll
then
see.
His hamstrings will go in round 4.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we know Clarko loves the chip around. He won't. Clarko won't want to get beat, and Clarko won't want to get beat bad. So he might get that chip roll out the back. I don't know, but Clarkson will also want to start showing that there's potential for the future to those Roos fans. So again, too risky for me.
There we go. All right, so for our viewers, that's us covering the backline for AFL Supercoach 2023. Please like, share, subscribe. Molten Fantasy Sports on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all the likes. Will be on YouTube as well. Any questions, please send them through to us on social media. We'll endeavour to get back to you. And stay tuned for our next episode, which will air a couple of days from now, where we will run through the midfield, our pigs, so our higher end fantasy, your must picks, our mid-price maniacs, our rookies or our schoolboys that we're picking, and we'll do the same with our forward line and our rucks. And then after that, we'll go into each team. We'll give you a bit of a snippet as to the role that team or the role within the team that players play, from Adelaide right through to the Western Bulldogs, fantasy relevance. And like we said before, Geelong use the ball a lot more than Adelaide. There's more points there. Brisbane kick the ball a lot more than any other team. They're number 1 in the comp. So if you're looking for points that way, we'll go for Brisbane players. So, please like, share, and stay tuned for our next episode. But from me and Robbie, take care of yourselves.